Assalamu alaikum. Beautiful evening in Lahore. Today is 10th of February 2026. So, I have been discussing a very innovative dynamic income equation. To understand that equation, one might say that, for developing countries to achieve sustainable economic growth rate more than 6% and then converge to the incomes of developed world, that income equation is quite telling. Uh, on the right hand side, the variables which will determine long term economic development are institutions, globalization, and human capital. In the earlier video, I said that we can assume that human capital is actually labor productivity, whereas globalization is capital productivity. But here, I would bring another dynamism to that income model. If you remember, institutions which have many proxies like rule of law, voice and accountability, control for corruption, political stability, regulatory quality, democracy or autocracy, where it will be these institutional proxies would be instrumented by nations speaking European or English languages. If you really think about it, this instrument, unlike certain mortality, which might be a proxy of human capital as such, languages really determine culture. In the Dark Ages, languages were still being spoken. So instead of ignorance, if you really think about it, the real story of Dark Ages where people were still speaking those beautiful European languages like Spanish, German, French, Portuguese, or English. And these languages have a lot of static expressions. They are enlightened languages. So people will be exchanging those expressions of statics, those expressions of trust, dignity, love, bravery, honesty. So these languages really depict cultural strengths. So those institutions in the income equation are explained through culture, whereas human capital would be depicting modernity, postmodern world which is ruled by STEM research, science, technology, engineering, and management sciences. So the two variables, institutions represent culture, human capital would represent postmodern world, and globalization would be all about consumerism and economics. That's an interesting approach. That is an approach by linking culture and postmodernism. I'm trying to explain good economics, and with collaborating with large language models like ChatGPT, Grok, Gemini, I have written quite a dozen manuscripts. The story I'm trying to tell is that culture and modernism would work together to deliver simple economics, having a cup of coffee, going for dinner, enjoying with family and friends, speaking and expressing yourself aesthetically, consuming technological and aesthetic products, living aesthetic and cultural lifestyle, while also adding technology to it. That's what real economics is all about. So, interestingly, when you add postmodernism with culture, economics become really significant. Unlike Harvard Kennedy School, Donald Roderick's result, whereby he would say that institutions rule, whereas economics is insignificant. In this dynamic income equation, culture and postmodernism will work together to deliver great economics.